Hello and welcome to the Talk with Tariro. We do know October, November, it is a period that we commemorate many issues to do with women. We have Breast Cancer Awareness Month, as well as the upcoming 16 days of activism against gender-based violence. So we always try and bring women who are coming to us with different issues that they are dealing with, issues that they're grappling with. And today on the program, we have a face not so new to your screens. It's always on your screens when it comes to News at 8 on ZTV. That's Vicky Mlilo. Vicky, welcome to the Talk with Tariro.
Thank you so much for having me on the show,
Yes.
Tari.
And today we are looking at one issue that is not new on the Talk with Tariro and is not new in our country as well. We are talking about an issue of mental health. And oftentimes when we are discussing these issues, people always, when it comes to affluent women from the north side, they never come out. We always try and go into communities and talk to women there. And today, Vicky is going to share her journey as well as discuss why she has become a mental health advocate. So, Vicky, just walk us that journey of you becoming a mental health advocate. And maybe let's start with, when you're talking about mental health, what exactly are we talking about?
Thank you so much, Tari. You know, when we speak mental health, it's something that's absolutely dear to me, because I have come to realize this is not a recent thing, if I might just say, you know, that mental health has got a lot of stigma that surrounds it. Usually in our African society, when we speak mental health, we are quick to think of somebody who's got extreme mental health issues.
Yes.
We think of that person who's walking in the streets, carrying their bag, talking to themselves.
Yes.
That's what we think of.
Yes.
And sometimes, even as Africans, we want to blame sekuru vatete vambuya vavani. We always want to blame it on somebody. But we never want to look at ourselves as having mental health. For the purposes of the show and our discussion, I've got a personal definition of mental health, which I'll just share with our viewers to help them understand according to how I understood and have taken mental health. I always say mental health, Tari, it's like having a headache. A headache is triggered and caused by so many things. But in order for you to deal with that headache, you need to deal with the root cause.
Yes.
In other words, you can be having a headache. I can be having a headache. Somebody watching can be having a headache right now. The camera people here can be having, you know, a headache. But the root cause can be different. Maybe you've got a headache because you've got a dog bite, Tari. And that dog bite is causing you to have a headache. I've got a headache because I've got a spine problem. Maybe somebody has got a headache because they just didn't sleep. Somebody has got a headache because their husband beat them yesterday or their wife, you know, beat them up yesterday. But, you know, so if we just look at it, the main cause is, the thing that we are talking about, the result is the headache, but the cause is different. Because you've got a dog bite, I cannot give you the pill that I am taking because I've got a spine problem. For my head to be sore, I need to deal with the spine. For your head not to be sore, we need to deal with the dog bite. For somebody who just didn't sleep, an aspirin can just do different root causes, different ways that we have to deal with it, different, but at the same, at the end of it all, it's a headache. That's the same with mental health. What we talk about, Tari, when we then say mental health, you know, usually we talk suicide, depression, sometimes even drug abuse, you know, which we are grappling with right now, not only in Zimbabwe, but, you know, nationally, globally, I should say, you know. We speak stress, we speak a whole lot of things. Those are results of mental health. That's mental health to me, having a headache. Many people can be depressed, but the root cause, what is making you to be depressed is what really matters. I cannot come to you because you are depressed and I just say, Tari, snap out of it, get out of it. I need to find out why are you depressed and we deal with that in order for you not to be depressed.
I really love the way you unpacked and simplified mental health. And people would want to then ask, why did it become of interest to you?
You know, Tari, it's mental health is something that I don't speak passionately about and advocate for because it's something that I probably have read about on news, read about in the paper, seeing things happening. I've personally suffered mental health challenges. So one thing that made me really come out and educate people as well and campaign and advocate for this is because, one, I noticed, you know, the stigma that I spoke about. People do not want to come out. I noticed many people are dying on the inside.
Yes.
The moment you die on the inside, eventually physically you will go. Tari, I tried to commit suicide 3 times.
Yeah.
I've gone through clinical depression where I used to drink more than 30 pills every single day.
Wow.
I went through 4 doctors, okay. From my GP to the specialist physician who then referred me to one professor, you know, who would then diagnose to say this is clinical depression. And you know what happens? Sometimes people need to be aware of certain changes in their lives. You know, I would always be sick. I would have a headache. This week it's a headache. I would go for lumbar punctures. You won't believe it, Tari. I've got 2 lumbar punctures right here. I never knew how dangerous a lumbar puncture is,
Very.
you know. And I believe it's really the grace of God. I'm in hospital because of headaches. I'm being treated for migraines. Next week, I'm thinking it's ulcers. I'm now back to the doctor because I've got pain here. And then I go through those, you know, what do they call it? Endo, you know, where they, you know.
Endoscope,
something like that, you know, where you go through all that, and then the next time it's my breast, which is so, I'm thinking it's breast cancer. I'm going for mammogram. I'm doing whatever. The next time I'm just falling. The next time it's a leg. The next time whatever. Going through all those things, and you know what? Sometimes when you go to doctors, you just wish they would say your BP is high, you know, BP yakashuta, something like that. Everything was normal. Everything would be normal. But because it's mental health, it's depression, it's in here. I always say mental health, Tari, it's in the mind. It's in your mindset. How I then even came out of that, you know, I was bedridden. I wanted to actually say this for clinical depression. Where I would sit, sleep on the bed, look at the ceiling and just think, Vicky, you are useless. Go to the bathroom, come back on the bed, Vicky, you are useless. Take my 10 pills for the afternoon, sleep on the bed, go to the bathroom, Vicky, you are useless. You know, I then had to deliberately start working on my mindset. Pills, they do work. They are
up to a certain
level.
Motivating words coming from Vicky and her sharing her own personal testimony. I'm sure many of us are actually seeing that, yes, this was mental health, but we never thought this is what we're going through. Join us after this short break. Welcome back as we continue with our discussion. Vicky, before we went for the break, you were talking about the issue of the coping mechanisms, that we never give ourselves coping mechanisms. And even before giving ourselves those coping mechanisms, people would want to ask, is there a trigger? So address those 2 for me.
Oh, yes. Okay, let me start with the coping mechanisms, right? Coping mechanisms are important because mental health, Tari, like I said, it's like having a headache. It can come right now. Right now, you might not be having a headache, but rest assured, by end of this month, you're going to be having a headache. By end of the year, you're going to be having a headache. But what you need to now know is, what do I do? Which pill works for me, for my head? Aspirin doesn't work, but maybe this one works. What do I need to do? I need to wear a head because it's what those, you know, are coping skills when we talk headache. But when we talk, you know, mental health, I'll just give you an example, Tari. One thing, like I said, I want to take you back a bit. I said we need to deal with the root cause. A root cause can be somebody who's having a marriage problem.
Yeah.
A root cause can be somebody who's having an issue at the workplace. A root cause can be somebody who's having an issue at child, having an issue at school. So root causes are everywhere. If you look at the wheel of life, mental health is everywhere. It's in the church, it's at work, it's in the business, it's everywhere. Everyone, in as much as everyone faces mental health, a headache, it means everyone can face mental health issues. But the difference is how you deal with it. Those are the coping skills and strategies. You know, I was sharing something. I lost my first child, you know. I had a boy, lost my first child. And I'm a Christian. 175%, I always say Christian, you know, but people would come to me and say, it is well.
And it's not well.
And it's not well. You know, sometimes the words that we say, that we speak to people, we don't realize, but it's actually causing more stress to somebody. Because it's in the Bible, because the Shunammite woman said it is well, it doesn't mean you have to just use it any which way. People would come to me and say, it is well. Pray, Vicky, pray. You know, who told you I was not praying when my child died? Who told you I was not even fasting when my child died? But people would come and say, it is well. Nobody sat down with me to just even see me cry. Nobody even sat down with me to just say, Vicky, can I get you tea? Do you want? If you don't know what to say, just keep quiet and just be there for the person. Nobody. And I believe one of the reasons why we have so many mental health issues, you know, be it in the nation, as women, as men, all over, it's because we do not tell each other the truth and we don't really practically help each other. If I come and say, I don't have food at home, and you say to me, pray, let's kneel and pray, and you say, go, have you helped me?
No.
If I'm believing God for a job and all I do is spend all of my time praying and I don't get time to send out CVs, even the Bible says faith without works is dead. You pray, but there's something that you have got to do. We don't give each other practical skills. So when it comes to coping skills, there are so many, Tari, and they really vary according to your situation, you know. But they are general coping skills and strategies which I can probably just share with the viewers today. For example, I said, change your mindset. If you want to change your life, you've got to change something about you. Change your mindset. I was just telling you that I need to lose weight because I've gained a lot of weight. If I don't change something, the times that I'm eating, I'll still be saying the same thing next year. So something has got to change. Change the way you think. You cannot expect to go and deposit $100 at the bank and then next week you want to go and withdraw $100 million. You only withdraw what you deposit.
Put in,
So change your mindset. Begin to think positive about yourself. As difficult as it is, I am here today because these things worked for me. Change your mindset. Another coping skill and strategy, Tari, you've got to find somebody to talk to. Find a trusted person to talk to. These days, people say it's difficult to find someone that you can talk to, but find a trusted person to talk to. This has led me to open an organization which assists people with mental health, which does a whole lot of things. You know, I go places and everywhere in the business, school, everywhere, because mental health is everywhere. You know, we need to understand. So find a trusted person to talk to, and you've got to discover and know your purpose. I believe purpose, Tari, purpose helps you to fight your battles differently. When I speak about purpose or teach about purpose, I like giving this practical example. I always say, you know what? Purpose is like going to Bulawayo. Everyone has got their Bulawayo. If we are to travel, Tari, to go to Bulawayo and we leave Harare, we have a tire puncture in Norton, what are we going to do? We will fix our tire because we know we are supposed to get to Bulawayo. If we get to Gweru there and they say road closed, construction ahead, we will find the people around to say, is
A
there not
detour,
a
yeah.
road that will still take us, to Shangani because we want to get to Bulawayo? So knowing your purpose will help you fight the battles that you fight, with hope. Knowing that, okay, I've got a challenge here, but I know I'm supposed to get somewhere. So purpose really, really helps.
And that issue of saying, what triggers?
Triggers.
Yes.
Triggers, you know what? I want to refer back to say a headache. A headache can be triggered by anything,
Yes.
right? Mental health, for example, triggers can be anything. If I see boys that are now probably, teenagers driving, doing whatever, that's a trigger for me. I begin to think, oh, maybe my son would be this age by now, maybe I would be. So a trigger can just be anything. But the most important thing is when you have that trigger, have your coping skill, know what to do. If I'm to pick up the call and call Tari, I should do that. If going for a jog will help me, I should do that.
So does it mean that I actually need to know what triggers me?
You've got, you always know. There is nobody who does it. You will always know. It's important to know if you but the bottom line is you will always know what triggers. There is no way you cannot know what is depressing you.
Yeah.
You will always know. Yeah.
And looking at you as Vicky, people see you on television. You spoke about the stigma that is attached to issues of mental health. You coming out and really sharing your own personal experience, your own testimony. How has it been?
Surprising, Tari. People need somebody that they can just identify with. It's just been amazing. And for me to realize the lives that have been saved because I came out.
Indeed, Vicky, we would want to hear more around that. Let's just take this short break and we will be back. We'll hear from Vicky in terms of how has it been. There is a lot of stigma, and stigma which is also making a lot of people suffer in silence. But we are saying the time to talk and time to act is now when it comes to mental health. Join us after this short break. Welcome back. We continue with our discussion. Vicky, you were sharing how it has been for you, considering the stigma that we have in our communities globally when it comes to issues of mental health.
Yeah, Terry, I was just saying, for me when I came out, it's really surprising the number of people that have just identified, to say, okay, she went through that, she came out. I can also go through that. And the thing about depression which we need to know, Tari, is because I was depressed back then, it doesn't mean I don't get depressed now,
Exactly.
But now I know what to do in order for me not to spend time sleeping on the bed and looking at the ceiling and just thinking negative things about myself. So the identification has just been really humbling for me, and it's a journey that I'm going to take for the rest of my life, because everybody needs to know that mental health, it's real. It affects everybody. Mental health is not only for people that we call disadvantaged people only. No, mental health, it affects that business person. It affects the CEO. It affects the managing director. It affects everybody. The difference is how we deal with it.
And we've witnessed a lot of suicide cases. We've even, like now as a country, witnessed a number of accidents. And it's some of these things. I was actually I can't remember what I was watching or somewhere I was reading where people were sharing testimonials and somebody was saying, I only saw the car is just next to me because my mind was somewhere else.
Yeah.
People were just sharing what they're going through. I think as a people, we have a lot that's going on. We have a lot that we're going through. And it's all those issues. And
Absolutely.
sometimes subconsciously we are thinking, we're okay. Your response on that?
You know what? Let's not get used to NAMO.
Yeah.
Sometimes you can just get used to your circumstance and situation and you think this is normal, this is okay. I always say there's no problem without a solution, number one.
Yeah.
Like you're rightfully saying, everybody has got something. And I'll still go back to say, with your thing which you have, reach out and talk to somebody. Problems will always be there. They will never end. I like this scripture in the Bible which says, many are the afflictions of the righteous. Many, Tari, it's not only one. We have so many things, so many problems that come to us, which we face, but the good thing is God delivers us out of all of them. He fights for us and He delivers us, So look for somebody to talk to. Problems will always be there. And it's really sad about these, accidents, the deaths that we are witnessing, and sad especially about, suicidal thoughts.
Yes.
Tari, did you actually know that when a person commits suicide, 99.9% of the time, that person doesn't really want to die. You are trying to end the problem that you are going through. Yeah. You are just tired of this thing that you are going through. You're just tired. So sometimes you just want to. So, and also because when you are going through a lot of stuff and you've got suicidal thoughts, your mind is overclouded. You are not thinking straight. You are not in your rightful sense. You think there's no way out of the things that you are going through.
Yeah.
So suicide can be prevented if only people can work, if we can work on our mindsets, that our lives are in our minds. Our lives are made in our minds before they manifest outside.
And one thing that I would want you to really address is the fact that people were coming to you and saying, it is well. And for you, it is not well.
Yeah.
How do people know what to say? How do we get to know what to say? And how important is that kind of support that you are talking about? When I've found somebody that I'm thinking, I trust this person, maybe I'll even get to an extent of confiding in terms of what is triggering all this. For you, when somebody comes to you and shares all that, to be that supportive, to also know what to say, know how to respond, how best can you assist us on that?
You know what? Words are very, very powerful. Words can either make somebody or break somebody.
Yeah.
We always need to evaluate and think before we speak. There are certain words, Tari, for example, if somebody is grieving, people will go to someone and say, Usacheme.
Yeah.
What did you want,
Exactly.
Those type of words, they do not help at all. The moment somebody has lost someone, the moment someone has lost a job and they come to you and say, I've lost a job, sympathize with that person. Sometimes if you don't know, allow that person to speak to you. Speaking on its own, it actually is therapy for somebody. And if you are not able to help that person, refer them to someone, because we don't have answers for everything. Refer them to somebody. There is definitely somebody who is able to listen to you, assist you, and help you. So people must not close themselves up and think, I have nobody to talk to. There are people to talk to.
And how do we address the misconceptions that people have, especially around mental health?
Really
of
sad.
Thinking kuti mental health, munhu ari kufamba street, akabereka saga, ari kutaura ega, like what you have said.
Breaking these, misconceptions. I always say, wherever I'm given an opportunity to speak, you know what? people, sometimes we are quick to say, society, society. But then I also ask and say, who is society, Tari?
It's you and me.
I, we are society. What we are actually doing here is breaking that stigma, that misconception. So we just have got to speak more about it. Speak more about it. No, it's normal, you know, for Tari, as pretty as she looks, as smart as she looks, to be depressed. And talk about it. I believe a good leader is one who is able to also show people their wounds. Even Jesus, Tari, I'm not preaching, but Jesus, you know, he said to Thomas, feel my wounds here. You know, these days we don't have people who really want to tell you how they have made it even in life. You know, we don't, if I come and say, how have you made it? You're doing so well in business. Sometimes you're quick to just say, oh, nyasha, 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 Tari, nyasha. But you don't want to tell me, Vicky, it was hard at some point. Let me just tell you a short story, Tari. Where I am right now, things were so hard that at one point I wanted to be a security guard. I wanted to be a security. Things were very hard. I worked in a doctor's surgery as a receptionist. I sold carpets in a very tiny carpet shop, you know, but being in all those places that I went through, that purpose, it saved me and it helped me. So you go through those things, but you'll be knowing, okay, I am here, but I know I am supposed to be going somewhere. I mean, Gweru, but I'm going to Bulawayo.
Indeed, empowerment of the mindset. Vicky, it has been a pleasure having you on the show, and allow us to invite you again, because there is still a lot that we need to unpack. Key take-home message that I got: just know your purpose. Where exactly are you going? Even if you meet obstacles, find that detour, because where you are going, you need to get to that destination. It's been a pleasure. Until next week, it's goodbye.